Well, I would have to take us back maybe 32 years ago, in which was a time in 1990 where our church, besides being a peace and justice church already, decided to become a whole earth church and to embrace the concepts of being a whole earth church, which meant to support the environment and to do what a church or individuals can do to help the environment to improve and not having issues with it for a long-term basis. And so that led us over the years to doing a lot of different other things, including, for example, trying to make our billing more energy conscious, and having audits done by a good group like Faith in Place, and having a person come here and doing an audit for us to really provide us information about how we can improve our energy use and our energy efficiency. Well, it was a very quick on-take project. By that I mean that we had a offer from a solar company in February of one year to see whether we would consider going solar. We presented the proposal to our church council. One of our church members stepped up and said that they would loan the money to the church to pay for it. And so when that happened, the church council agreed to it immediately. A check was written to the church and we went from there. Well, back before 2018, our electric bill, because we do use gas for our heating, our electric bill is tended to run $600 to $700 a year. And that was very normal. I went back quite a few years, back to about the year 2010, and that was the average $600 to $700. But since then, in the years that we've had our system, 2019, 2020, 2021, our bills have averaged $45 to $52 a year for electricity use. We realized that the amount of carbon we're keeping out of the atmosphere is tremendously down. If you look at the 25 years which is how we estimate what we're savings in regards to CO2, we're saving about 100 tons of coal during that time. We're saving somewhere in the neighborhood of 25,000 gallons of gasoline. And if you take gas times 20 times $5 and some odd cents a day, you'll see what kind of savings that is too. And so looking at all of that together, we feel that it's been a very worthwhile investment. Actually, one of the most interesting sidelines from this is that we've had 9 members of our church have gone solar. And that to me realized that they were a part of this whole concept. One of the things that we did, which I would always encourage any church or any other type of business or residential, to make sure their roof is up to date in regards to shingles or membrane or slate or tin or whatever it may be, steel or whatever it may be. And we had a roof replaced about 2 years before we had the system put in. And so they had replaced parts underneath the membrane. And so we knew that the roof was solid at that point. And so, and in reality, on our roof since it is flat, they don't tend to drill into the roof itself. Now on a shingle roof, a hip roof, or a roof with any type of slope, they will probably be putting the beams that they put down, the racks for the solar modules panels, into the roof. But on a flat roof, they basically weigh it down with concrete blocks, which is built to withstand winds of 60, 65 miles an hour. And so the likelihood of this blowing off the roof is very unlikely here. Well, I think if they're thinking about going solar, let's look at this very seriously. But at the same time, I think it's important that they take a look at their current energy usage in their church. I think they need to have a good audit done by Aron or the Faith in Place group that does a great job with bringing a energy auditor in. I would suggest that which would include looking at things like your dishwasher, your light systems, your heating, cooling system, and other things that you don't even think about. You know, whether you've got good insulation around your doors, whether your windows need to be replaced and having good, good double pane windows and things like that. One of the biggest jobs is convincing people too in the church that this is something that we have to look for the future. Putting solar in is just not for the now. It is for the now, but it is for what you hope to do for the future and how you can benefit what your church believes in regards to whole earth and energy savings and environmental justice and other things like that too. We've gone along for many years before we got involved with green teams and Faith in Place to have our own community gardens, very small ones. We've planted fruit trees on the property, and we've done plays on the environment within a church service and things like that. But I really think that Faith in Place has got us focused upon things that matter more as much, and even though we've been doing a lot of work, as I mentioned, in justice issues and peace issues, that's a big part of Faith in Place, and I think it's shown us that these all things go together, and I think that Faith in Place has helped us to get to where we need to be.